Okay. Said this first half, so much of it is going to be pivotal for either side, whichever we want to cut this, right? It kind of works on both sides. If you're a fan of Acend or a fan of G2, a lot rests on this. You can see the map, Vito. And CNED can see a boombot on his forehead.
And it insta-pops as well. There's no chance for even dealing with that. CNED will catch the heel regardless, but there's some information given across the wall, still not dealt with, so another 15 seconds or so left on that. Well, Acend are just going to try and catch a bit of timing behind it, but G2 haven't rotated away from it. Obviously, after the boombots found contact, don't expect them to.
Wow, my eyes are down.
Mellow spy cam dealt with once again. Acend have to re-explore here at the 50-second mark.
Meadow's surely gonna, at bare minimum, get a fair crack of information. That double stack towards Heaven's gonna be a almost instant swing. Just all about the timing. Here it comes, and actually they get at least a step in the door. Forced away, and there's the support system coming in. Nuki perfectly placed for this, punishing off the back of that one way. And Meadow's unfazed as well, able to readjust, keep his life, and the spike down deep towards the site. Pretty disastrous to try and recover it. If there's anything up the sleeve for Acend here, any damage to be done, because thus far, unless the UI is betraying me, not a point of damage until then. Hoodie, they get a little bit of chip damage, but beyond that, you can see the perfect trades. G2, 5 standing, it's pretty ideal.
Yeah, really good shot here at the bonus round. Although they're going to see them. But again, you can talk about with this composition, it doesn't really suit or enable G2 to play how we know they like to on defense occasionally, which is to get proactive, right? Again, we have a couple of passive information gathering bits of utility, but I mean, other than Nuki and like I said, the paranoia, really, there's nothing for G2 to really rely on here to kind of dig a little deeper and maybe take away an opening engagement from Acend. So that's something I've definitely got my eye on. If it's just G2 to sit back and wait to kind of absorb some of these hits from Acend. As I say that, the bonus round, they are going to go exploring into mid.
Love that. Love that. Nuki getting aggressive off the very rip of things. Already seen it punish. Probably a player you'd love to take out as well. Dull the blade that Acend have. Now, of course, I said that the UI could have been an issue, and I've seemingly made it happen.
Yeah,
I've made it happen.
Why have you done that?
We're back casting together, Mike. And this is what occurred.
It didn't take long, did it?
No, it's round 3. It's round 3, Mike. I can't deal with this. Wall goes up, Hoodie's going to peel away from this. But do remember, CNED is down at this point, so Acend trying to operate with just 4 of them standing here. So let's see what they've got cooked up already. At least they've got mid control, I guess, is one benefit to go forward for potentially this A crunch. But they still have to address this kind of forward-leaning hold that G2 have been somewhat leaning towards.
That's your key engagement here between Monster. But we're going to pop the one-way once again. It will force him off the angle here. Mixwell actually tucked in as well. You see, actually, Zeke exploring his way into ropes here, and Acend actually kind of take 2 different contacts across the map here. We'll find an opener towards B. Still got Meadow to deal with, and Nuki a little further behind it.
Yeah, Meadow's position yet to be revealed does finally show his hand, but look at the damage as well. This is madness from G2. Those Spectres are looking like rifles. This is fabulous work. And Zeke, the undesirable scenario of trying to do
Finds
anything.
the third as well.
It's perfect from G2. This is... Look, I think there's something that Kakuka said on the desk earlier on that certainly stood out to me, and it does hold true for G2, that kind of wounded animal, right? But they become the most dangerous in those elements. Those rebuild times, you know, make or break, and quite often it does seem to make them, which is always surprising, right? But again, this is the start that they would have needed. This money's a bit poo here.
It is.
Cheaper,
yeah, in the words of Ryan Central, a little bit poo. Couple of sheriffs to come into this one. Couple of light armors as well, actually. Acend actually going to try and counter wall here. There's 2 members actually ready to greet them. It's the third to come through as well. Only Vac to find one onto Nuki. So no real progress made, but a rifle here. Mixer actually here to pick up the other side of it. Both headshots found, and G2 close out another one. And trying to get a little funky with it here with the counter wall, but again, actually to have 3 members still stacked up behind that just to play on the back of that possibility is kind of crazy from G2.
Yeah, okay. Like, I'm waiting with bated breath, right? Like, I think if anyone's watched G2, you're kind of waiting for the penny to drop, where you're like, oh, and here we go. Here, you know what I mean? But this is looking super robust so far. Like, everything's looking really good. Some clean rounds. And I guess now you flip the script towards, okay, Acend, how do you somehow break back into this? As already, we're in minimal HUD mode. It's just POV cam, which is very popular. So Starzo gonna catch the free's first kill of his life, but a quick trade out for Hoodie. You gotta look towards Mixwell again. Dips out of there, at least gonna deny Monster a trade of any sort. And G2 keeping, I guess, Acend somewhat caged, but Cena doesn't like that. Breaks the bars, finds Meadow, and gets a little bit of room to work with. Rez coming back in. And for now, Heaven's okay. It's somewhat safe, but the timing on this from Avova isolates two trying to push towards Pillar. The swing's good, but the outplay from back is fine, as now G2 just down with two.
Hoodie coming back through here, found by Zeke. It leaves Mixwell standing in a 1v4. Tour de Force popped, but 72 HP and expecting the swing to come through from Monster there. And finds it. Acend actually a little bit of a pace change does suit them well after G2 were in the right place to greet that, right? The first two kills, what was it, 2 for 1 actually initially coming through in G2's favor, but Acend able to stabilize that Heaven control. I was actually looking back in their previous round, it didn't look as if Acend were even remotely close to their kind of first cycle of ultimates, but on the back of that round now, looking a lot healthier. I mean, notably looking towards Zeke and Cned's ultimates. Obviously with the res being invested already, but it's interesting to see as well, Stars are a little bit disconnected from that play. I'm not sure if the paranoia was sent or not, but G2 still caught off guard from his position in sewers.
And now my eyes turn towards Mixwell as well. Operator out. Player that I want to see really finding comfort on that chamber. Let's see how that looks. Going forward. Wall still up in mid. Nuki just sending out the boombot. Finds nothing thus far, but it's not like he's going to take his eyes completely away from this, as there is that slow creep up towards middle now.
That's Zeke. I think it was an accidental step there, but gives away a little bit of information. Then on the back of that, do have to deal with the wall. Cena actually swings through. That's going to trigger the showstopper. Does he manage to get away from this though? He sends it a little bit more damage, but somehow Cned's still standing.
And Mixwell delivering. That's perfect. Finding Zeke gives away a little bit of the idea as to what's going on.
Zeke still catch the headshot there. Mixwell's down to 10 HP.
Jeez, I guess so, but that's all he needs. The law still holds, and Mixwell is holding the site by himself. Avova was sitting deeper on the site, waiting for the cross, played in quite nicely, and now Starkzo, the undesirable, here left all on his lonesome.
30 seconds left.
But he already going to recover that operator. That tuck towards CT. No problems for G2. This is looking robust.
It is, yeah, and then this is key as well. This round to kind of see Acend actively challenging this one way, because they don't have an awful lot of utility to deny that, right? If it's going to be an operator posted up on the other side, or multiple angles being a possibility with that one way, whether or not Acend just do opt to kind of just blast back past it, it seems a little risky there. Obviously, Zeke nearly gets the kill. I assume that's the headshot that comes through from him to put Mixwell down to 10 HP, right? But now where the operator's on the table here, seen them do exactly the same thing once again. Mixwell still finds the pick.
That's the man you want to see. The safe pair of hands, but that flare is unmistakable at times, and Avova still just keeping control, popping up the smokes, allowing just this field to be created for them to try and play under. And the gap can't get closed. Those Spectres can't come into any sort of range.
Because they were still putting up kills when they were struggling on attack. Here, they aren't. They're being completely locked out here.
Which is a rare sight. Now, one thing I will say, though, I like how versatile Mixwell's trying to be here, taking that operator across the map now, not just playing over towards that A side,
look at the
instantly spinning things up. And it's a good read. They've left one player, Meadow, in control of that entire A site. Now, I guess the issues really begin, and that paranoia really begins when you lose mid control, when you lose ropes, and everything then could spiral. But you're putting a lot of faith on one player to hold it safe, right? But this is a gamble stack.
Yeah, it is. Meadow historically has been good with these very deep setups with the traps. I mean, he's usually good for 1 or 2 on the back of them. Does have the spy cam set up towards Heaven as well. So the information's there if actually Acend can find some space through ropes. There's no trap wire there this time around, so they won't be notified of it until the spy cam picks it up. But G2, yeah, fairly invested with this stack towards B, and look how they're actually denying information here by playing so deep. In limited utility invested. So I think there's still 2 members unnoted. Mixwell will be spotted there on the back of the spy cam, but it's only really 2.
Yeah, but they're trying to get this burst towards Heaven, but it's going to be Avova who's going to be able to at least take that swing, a spray, but it wasn't as clean as they'd like. Only going to punish Zeke on this, but Mixwell's still fine. May have been noted earlier, but this man is hitting and he ain't missing. Now Monster has to do something, do some damage. He takes 1, but it's not enough. Again, this look from G2 is stellar. You've got the, you know, I guess Mixwell being everywhere and nowhere all at once, right? Hard to pin down. He's playing nicely. Those rotations coming in. Meadow just holding his own, playing it nicely, not feeling too pressured to call for rotations early, dealing with that heaven pinch coming out. This is very, very diligent work from G2. And honestly, I think what you said in that prior round of just not seeing individuals even finding that impact, which it's so synonymous with Acend, is very surprising.
Absolutely. I'm back here now. Bladestorm will be popped. Try and find something here. Meadow again. Similar setup on A main, but already Nuki coming through towards ropes. We noted here with the boombot, but it will find contact on the other side of the smoke. G2 are here. Look how early they're here. Before Acend have even really found progress towards site.
This is quite nice to watch. I was a little worried about the timing of the rotation, but yeah, it's look, as someone who, you can't help but enjoy those sort of shots out of Nuki. This guy is something else. No one else quite towards ramp just yet. You can see Vac now coming up, but again, Hoodie's already spotted him on the shoulder peak. They know what's up now. There is that mid lurk, but don't forget that Avova already going to be watching this cross. That's all he's got to do as well. He doesn't have to be overly committed to this, just has to play his life now. You can see the push to the pull. It'll probably depend on Mixwell to potentially keep an eye on it if he does feel overwhelmed, which actually, a little bit of a wider step could have cost him his life. Starkso, big punish, and now Mixwell, this is getting dangerous for him.
Yeah, we'll hear the TP. Starzo gets themselves to back sight. But the spike still towards A here. This is all a ruse. It's a fake.
It's worked so nicely as well. You don't often get them. Back just slow down just a little. Meadow might have a second. The wall goes up. Spots the cross, but couldn't get the shot across in time. 13 seconds and begging for a plant. Ascend needs something. They're clutching at straws. Starzo's timing could be great, but actually does get revealed. Punished from Mixwell. Straight up Godwell right now. That's two back-to-back. And that can only do so much towards Meadow. And the numbers just win out. And G2, this is perfect form.
It really is. Ascend look lost for answers, I'll be honest. Can't really seem to find any success in the early round, and the couple of times they have kind of tried to dial up the pressure towards an all-out site here, it's been Mixwell to stand his ground. 12-4 right now, leading the charge. Nuki obviously not too far behind him as well, respectively. But Ascend, I mean, just pennies left after this purchase as well. Zeke still sitting on that showstopper, but still sitting on 1 kill. CNED as well. It's just not enough to get them online here, Lauren. And already we're past the point of any sort of recovery in the first round.
It's very surprising to see this. Now, we know that G2 can do this. It's something that, as at the desk, even highlighted. That
well, there's a way to triple your kills.
That's what you needed. That's what you needed. A little bit of that spark. A fire starts to burn under them. That was pretty dirty work. Now on the other side of the map, so we've got CNED lingering around, but Avova's controlling the space. He's still just fine. And do bear in mind, we still have Mixwell standing and Meadow towards this B site. So when they do go for this hit, they will be up against the two players that are at least playing together towards B. Zeke can try and sat to the site. Oh, it's a rough day in the office. And Mixwell's going to only find one. Catches Zeke, but it's traded out. But Meadow still stands. 33 HP is all he's got left. But you're right. Damage did come through, but it wasn't enough. Avova. Look, this guy can clutch. Now, I don't know if he's going to get given room, though. CNED on the operate. You've got Monster and Vac in a nice post-plant. Position already noted. The odds are stacked against this man, but at 8-1, why not give it a go? You got money for days. First protocol, close boxes. Can he clear it? Nothing seen so far. We know where these players reside. He's having to clear it step by step. First fight, expects to swing, couldn't get around in time, and Ascend finally get their second on the board.
I think they should be able to spread the wealth a little bit. Actually, no, not even. Say Monster sat at 5,100. There will be a drop out there, but a little bit weaker here, and Zeke actually just full-on swings through to greet this mid presence from G2. Punishes it, and I mean, if they can do that again, sure. It's
yeah, you just need a player to get a couple of kills every round, and hey, this lineup can sometimes have that, right? But all right, Zeke, do it again.
But look at it. I mean, G2 have only ever challenged ramp a couple of times, and and the paranoia sent through. So similar to what I was saying with the composition at the start, right? The only real initiation tool they have is that paranoia. Everything else relies off just finding these opening engagements. If G2 can continue to play this deep, like I said, they're just denying. They're not even giving Acend the chance in most of these rounds to find these opening engagements.
That was the first almost overextend, and that was it. And it doesn't even get picked up on. No trade for it either. There's nothing much to this. And you're right, look how deep they are holding on this. Mixwell already adjusting over towards that A side of things, but it does look as though the pinch is coming through towards Heaven. And Hoodie, it's still good for 2. Still good for 2 on this, and Mixwell is there in the blink of an eye, takes 2 more with him, and leaves only 2 standing for Acend. And they already know where Monster is. Maybe not to the exact pixel, but they're found in the end, and Mixwell outdoes Acend. This man is everywhere at once. You cannot get out of his vision.
As well, the tour de force kill just makes it so difficult to get out of that as well. The res comes through, it's punished immediately. Like I said, the opening engagement there, Hoodie finds himself in a 1v3. That's a triple swing through Mayo and still finds 2 kills before falling.
Very impressive.
Again, that's what it relies on from Acend. It's just dry swinging. Other than the boom bot, the paranoia, once they're burnt up, it literally just relies on stacking up player numbers, and those engagements haven't gone Ascend's way at all.
A reminder, this is Ascend's choice. Icebox on the horizon. Now, there is a judge in this smoke. Teened gonna use his to try and clear through, but that just seems like a death trap waiting. And a rifle to be switched out to if needed. Money not really a problem for G2 in that regard. Oh, it's so good!
No.
It's so good! This is ridiculous! Ovova denies the vision. Mixwell plucks him from the air, and Mixwell is feeling this game. He finally falls to Monster, but the damage has been done. This puts it down to Cned, Starzo, and Monster to make something happen out of what feels like nothing. Vova's still in the site, identifies that Starzo could be on its own, swings back for it, can't get it, and Ascender hitting the shots. They're winning those fights finally, as Nuki and Meadow, the last 2 alive.
Showstopper available for Nuki though. Starzo dealt with immediately, and then Meadow finds the drive-by on the second.
Get out of it. Now you need some of that Cned magic. You know he's in danger. Nuki can just clear this if he wants to. Doesn't need it. Meadow is there. What the hell is going on?
What a commanding half from G2. It's 10-2. I
Bloody
mean,
hell.
you're almost relying on the 9-3 copium there. The Ascend have got a shot here.
Oh, you're praying for it. You're praying for that.
But, I mean, the main objective with this composition, right, was G2 to find as much value on the defense as possible. And they've given themselves the best possible scenario here to close out Split.
Bloody hell. And again, there'll be those G2 fans going, wow, you guys doubted them at the start. Of course they were always going to do... Tell me that when you watch their previous games that they look this good. Tell me that. Because this looks like a whole different beast. Again, when did you see Mixwell having one of these heaters? Like, he's had a bit of a hot and cold performance as of late. He's been okay, but an 18-6 everywhere on the map. You've had Meadow being super solid. Nuki not having to be the highlight, but just kind of filling that role. It's been lovely to watch. And again, on the other side of things, seen it on 1 frag. It is not a regular day at the office right now, but it is something to watch. Or he's also taking a rack of damage, going to get himself healed back up. And Mixwell just going to pick things up at the very start, takes out Zeke, and now suddenly the map feels very, very divided.
So Vac actually going to stay on the backside of this wall here. As Starzo, that's an pick up the slack towards middle. G2 kind of created a gap here. I want to try and follow through on it as well. Mixwell almost actually catching Vac as that wall does drop. So it's going to have to be a slow work from G2, but coming through here, actually, you're going to find safe passage already.
Back uphill.
What?
Get out of it! Get the hell out of here. Mixwell is he's just beaming him down. You can't miss. He actually cannot miss.
I mean, you said it right. Godwell. It's Godwell today.
We've had Misswell, we've had Mixwell, the in-between, but this is straight up Godwell. This is the 3 shades of this man. It's unreal. Now, you know what, Monster, good luck, mate. 1v4. Not heard this one before, Mike. Not been a story I've heard of, and Mixwell's just on it. He's absolutely on it.
And that, I feel like, is almost the nail in the coffin here for Acend. I mean, now at the crossroads, do they force in here? It looks as if they're considering it. To try and fight back in. Actually, Mixwell looks as if he's going to throw a Phantom in the mix as well. He finds both of them. That's... I mean,
It's the second that kills
there's
me.
like 3 or 4 of G2 stacked up there. And it's still just the second they swing. 22 and 6 now, Lauren. He's
Yes.
having a day.
He's having a game, isn't he? We'll see if it continues. I love the idea of Mixwell being activated, finding that little bit of comfort in the role and in the roster after the shuffles and just rolling it back, right? Like this guy, when he hits that prime form, it's beautiful. Same with Nookie, same with a lot of the players on G2. That's why this roster is always so hard to pin down, because their highs can be untouchable, but then sometimes you can see those cracks. But right now, we see nothing but that golden sunshine that they can bring. Starzo's
again.
lucky to be alive.
Yeah.
He's a lucky boy.
Takes a load of damage on B main. Has to take the heal. Well, G2 look to follow through on that damage. Yeah, with the weaponry here. Even Starzo holding on to the Sheriff here. It's going to be difficult. Vac has to play close up with that Stinger. Give himself the best opportunity. And Hoodie actually finds Starzo through the smoke. I mean, G2, they can do no wrong so far on Split. They're finding so many engagements. Just go their way. They ultimately shouldn't. Okay,
Yeah.
other than that, Zeke finding a wallbang with the Stinger. I
I think he was pretty low on the cross. I think he was
I didn't
jumping
even think
across.
that thing could shoot through anything, to be honest.
30 seconds left.
I don't. Yeah. Now, at 11-2, though, I think you're right. Everything they seem to touch turns to gold. And Steenhead not having the best of days. Monster's still alive, though. Going to buy time and cause some pain on this cross. They actually might be starting to become a little bit impossible. Mixwell only good for 1 this time. Can't trade effectively. And hey, converting a bonus, or, well, a force at this point, would be a necessity for Acend. And they actually manage it. Zeke with the Stinger.
Maybe we want to try and get that Tour de Force online nice and early. We'll fight for B main control. We'll see it trying to bait out the smoke so that they can retrieve the ore, but I think Acend wise to it. They want to try and deny it, but Vac swings ahead with the wall, and Starzo eventually finds the trade, but okay. All right. Yep.
Okay. Given we said everything was working out for them. Those last 2 kills, just that sums it up, right?
You blink and it just turns to a disaster.
Yeah. So what do we have left? Monster and Zeke, right? So looking towards the B site, it's gonna be Monster try and hold this sat towards heaven. Not particularly a proactive spot either.
There's Util's over on A as well.
Oh gosh, imagine things getting worse. And now Zeke, pretty far off from this. If they go in the next, I don't know, 15 seconds, he's a mile away. Now that's a decent enough indicator with the utility to follow, but he's going to sit quite passive, potentially play for timing on this, but he's worked in towards a site.
Yeah. I don't know if he
I
just...
thought he was going to wait for Zeke, maybe.
I don't know if he just got spotted on the spy cam either. I mean, Zeke's down to 40 HP, so the fact that they've got the spike plant kind of uncontested makes it even more difficult now for Acend in the retake.
So 1 tucked towards the back of site, 1 by pillar, 1 by B main. How do they try and isolate? Well, that's a good chunk of damage. That could be the go signal at least, but instantly Hoodie swings. Now, Monster, how are you meant to get past this? You can't. It's simple as that. G2.
It's got to feel rough with whatever they've attempted, not really paying off for them. Mixwell will have the Tour de Force pop. Actually, Zeke does look to get a little bit of aggressive, but eats the boom bot there, I think. He's down to 76 HP now. Will retrieve the orb, so 1 away from the showstopper. A little more decisive in terms of this B main control here, but they don't drift away. They actually stack up on this. I mean, the wall goes pretty deep in heaven, and that will pull Vac away from B site, but
I have the spike.
you two still spread pretty thin now, 3 towards 8. The other 2 on the other side of the map. Actually, this contact might actually bait Acend into a rotation.
See if any picks come off the back of it then. So much space is already kind of being taken, right? Like, you look at them being able to achieve, but again, so many players still present towards the safe side. No one's walking into this. No one's over peeking right now. They are tucked in deep. Now, finally, the rest of G2 are going to make their way over. We've got to look at who's on the site, right? You got Monster, that's a
30
Sheriff.
seconds
You got to look towards kind of back of Pillar, Spectre. It's still not pretty. It's not much to be working with. So Mixwell and the boys start taking towards the site. Monster going to get the first contact, but look how many players there are. And he actually isolates Hoodie. That's quite impressive to still even get one. And Vac trying to do whatever he can. 14 seconds. Can he deny the plant at the very least?
Come on.
10 seconds
Meadow
left.
actually comes off it. That's actually crazy. The neural theft goes through. It's going to reveal everybody else from Ascend. Mixwell posted up deep with the tour de force. I mean, yeah, put a bow on it. That should be game here. Ascend have everything to do here in the retake. It's a 3v4, Lauren.
All right, do or die time for Ascend. Map 1 on the line. And already just spam comes out from Nookie. You said you wanted a bow. Nookie's placed it. As Starkso left towards Heaven. And just given no options. No one's playing into this. His first fight will happen towards Ram, but by now the time is rotting away from him. And once again, another challenger. It's Meadow to seal it.
Attackers win.
And 13